Good day, mate. In this video, we will learn Adobe Premiere Pro basics. So let's get into it. So this is the first video of the Adobe Premiere basics. You can always check the Adobe Premiere Pro playlist in right here. Okay. Because this is the first video of the Premiere Basic, I will introduce you to the software itself and the workflow, okay? We will more focus on the project and the menu bar in this first part of the Premiere Basics. I always update my Adobe After Effects and Adobe Premiere Pro because the latest version has the most advanced technology in it and it's more stable, okay? You will not see like generic errors in your Premiere Pro if you always update your software. So that's why I always recommend you guys to auto-update your Adobe Premiere Pro. So how to update it? Let's see in my Adobe Creative Cloud desktop. So click right here, Manage Auto Updates, and tick Auto Update. But if you want to keep your previous version, like After Effects, for example, After Effects, Advanced, untick right here, okay? Remove older version. Easy, right? So because I always use latest version of Premiere Pro, you might find my interface is kinda different from yours if you're using a previous version of Adobe Premiere Pro. So this is the welcome screen on Adobe Premiere Pro. Click New Project to make a new project, obviously. Open Project for open your project, or you can always see your recent project like here, okay? Recent, or you can sort it by size. In the bottom corner, you will find this new theme project. Theme project in Adobe Premiere Pro is when you want to use it in online environment with your friends, okay? So you can edit with your team. And the last one is Open Premiere Rush project. And Premiere Rush is a mobile version of Premiere Pro. You can always download it in your Google Play account if you have Adobe account. So if you want to create a new project, click like here, New Project. And the first project always start with Untitled. So this will replace my Untitled project. So as you see here, this is the sample media from Adobe. You can always use this as training stock footage. And you can always browse your file locally here. So this is the import settings. If you want to copy first your media, you can always tick right here. Or if you want to make a new bin in your project, you can always tick right here. So in this video, I will just point what important to learn first in Adobe Premiere Pro, so you can always explore Premiere Pro in your daily basis. I'm just pointing the what important first. Because the Untitled project is already exists, I will replace it with a new one. So as you see here, this is my workspace. Obviously, this is not a standard workspace of Adobe Premiere Pro. As you see here, this is a Premiere Composer. So Premiere Composer is from Mr. Horse. You can always download it in mrhorse.com or link in the description below. Not sponsored by Mr. Horse, by the way. I always install Premiere Composer in my Premiere Pro because this extension is very useful in my daily basis. Not sponsored at all, but this is very great extension in your Premiere Pro. You can always buy the Pro version if you want, and you can expand your gallery and your presets. So this is my custom workspace, but if you want to change your workspace, click in the workspace button here, and you see there is two workspace, new workspace in latest version of Adobe Premiere, Essential Workspace and Vertical Workspace. But I always using this edited graphic workspace because I always works with motion graphic. So because this first video will more focus on the project and the menu bar, I will point out the menu bar and what's important to learn. In this new tab, you will make a new thing, obviously. Project for making a new project. In the latest version of Premiere Pro, you can always edit many projects at once. And that is the coolest thing in Adobe Premiere. If you want to make a bars and tone, black video, color matte, and transparent video, you can always click right here. Very important. And we will skip to project settings. Click General. This is how your project works. Because I'm using RTX graphic card, I'm using a CUDA renderer here. By the way, CUDA renderer only available in NVIDIA graphic cards. Okay, if you're using AMD, you will not find CUDA renderer because AMD doesn't have CUDA cores, obviously. And CUDA renderer only support in GTX and RTX graphic card. If you're using MX or mobile version of the NVIDIA GPU, you might not find the CUDA renderer in it. Only several versions of the MX graphic card, GPU supports CUDA. And this is the video display format. I am always using a timecode because I'm primarily using Adobe Premiere Pro with the timecode. But if you want to count the frames, you will have to use frame. But I'm always use my display format is as timecode. Okay, but you can change it by clicking like right here and leave the rest at default. Scratch this, same as project. If you have a very fast hard drive like mine, you can always leave your scratch this as same as project. But if you want a better performance, you will need SSD and leave your scratch this as in your SSD. And ingest setting is for making a proxy file for editing a bigger old file. So a very large video file you might find hard to edit in Adobe Premiere Pro, but you can always proxy editing with a proxy file. So we will tinkering with the ingest settings later, okay, in next episode. All right, this is your editing menu bar. Okay, if you want to edit your preference, click right here. Click General in the first menu. What do you want to do in your startup? Show home or open mouse project? But I'm always using a show home because it's more useful for me. When opening a project, show open dialog. If you want to display color management for your better accuracy in your video editing or color grading, you can tick this, and this requires GPU acceleration. So if you don't have a CUDA core or OpenCL support graphic card, never tick this because your GPU or graphic card doesn't support it. And here on the appearance, you can always make it brighter or darker. I am always using a default, like right here, because I'm very like the default appearance in the Adobe Premiere Pro. Because if I make it lighter, it's kind of look like Adobe CS, okay, Adobe Creative Suite. No, I'm not using that old software. And in the audio tab, like here, if you want to make a large volume adjustment, you can set it in the 6 decibel or 3 decibel. But I always leave it in default. Audio hardware. When you use ASIO, you might not hear another software when ASIO is controlling your device audio hardware. If I'm using ASIO, you can hear my OBS sound like here. So my default input is system default. Microphone is Zoom H1. Leave it that in default. And latency. Always use least latency in here. Sampler is 48,000. Okay, DVD quality or DVD studio quality. And you can always click the settings in the MME software. Okay, this is the MME. But if you use ASIO and you click setting, you will open ASIO settings panel. Okay, ASIO for all, for example. Autosave, I always leave it for 15 minutes. But if you want to save more because you have a very complicated project, you might want to automatically save for like 10 minutes. All right. And in the graphic tab, so text styling is I always use ligature and left to right. But if you use Hindi digits, you can always check like here. You can always set your missing font replacement. Sometimes when you open your project and you don't have the needed font, the font replacement of the missing font, you can set it right here, okay? In this example, I'm using Arial. So this is the media cache tab. So if you're feeling like my Premiere Pro like running much more slowly lately, you might want to clear your cache. You just want to click like here, remove media cache file, delete unused media cache file, and click OK. This will clean your media cache database, and your Premiere Pro will run much faster. And if you want to automatically clean your cache file, but I don't suggest it if you like working like a long project, example movie project, you might not want to use automatically delete cache files order than. And this is the memory settings. Because I'm using a 64 gigabytes of RAM, I can use Premiere Pro for 12 gigabyte RAM available. If I'm working with a crazier project, I might want to use like 20 gigabyte of my RAM for Premiere Pro, but I will leave this for 15 gigabyte. Optimize rendering for performance. I always recommend you guys to at least have a 16 gigabyte of RAM, by the way, for Premiere Pro. If you only have like 8 gigabytes of RAM, save your money and buy more RAM. In the timeline tab right here, you can always set your default duration of your video and audio transition or the still image duration. Still image duration, you will tinker with this when you want to make like stop motion video later. I will explain it later when we make a stop motion video. This is the default duration of video transition. Because we might works with different video frames like FPS, we might want to use seconds. Audio default transition 1 second. So for the last part you need to learn in Adobe Premiere menu bar is the window. Okay, window tab here. You can click on the workspace if you want to tinker with your workspace. But if you want to color grade focus workspace, you can click color, and this will open a Lumetri color panel like right here. What if I mess up with my workspace like right here? Okay, I'm dragging here like here, and I'm closing this. I'm closing this. Okay. So now my workspace is messed up. I can always reset my workspace to its saved layout. Click on the workspace button, reset to save layout. And if you want to change your workspace and save the settings, click like here and save changes to this workspace. Or you can save as new workspace. You can name it like HAEKAL. Okay, HAEKAL workspace. Okay. For example. That's it for today. If you have any question, drop your comment below and like for the YouTube algorithm. See you in the next one.